Hi everybody. Just a quick overview of our upcoming tool, Spark Studio. I'm going to demonstrate the quiz generator. Quiz generator allows us to use AI to generate quiz content. The content can then be converted into various formats, including H5P. So let's just give it a topic to generate the quiz on. We'll call it, I don't know, maybe accounting. Let's call it managerial accounting, perhaps. Let's leave it at that. We'll make this undergraduate, 5 questions, 4 options, sure. We'll hit save. Right now we are using OpenAI's APIs, including specifically in this case GPT-4o Mini. Spark Studio will be a open source platform, so when you implement it yourself, you'll be able to select the right model, the right platform, or even use your own local models if you have the hardware or what have you set up. We find 4o Mini to be the most efficient, cost-wise, time-wise, and so on. That's why we're using it here. Anyway, so here's the quiz that's been generated based on that prompt. We can see the prompt details itself. So we have a system prompt that's here. And here are, at the very end, the request is where we collate or aggregate the user settings that were provided via the previous form to essentially generate the quiz content. So this is the quiz content. You can see each question, 4 options per question, the answer and feedback per question as well. We can take that quiz content and generate, for example, a preview of what a quiz might look like. So here we can try these all out, or we can list every single question and just try them, and so on. Again, we can see the prompt details. We can regenerate, so if there's parts of this that we want to change, maybe add another question and so on, we can do that. We'd be able to see who authored this this data, who generated this data, I suppose. We can export the data as PDF, as a Word document, which would just be, this data right here. That would be either a PDF or a Word document. You can generate CSV that you could then take to perhaps your LMS or some other platform that generates quizzes. Or perhaps if you just want to take this quiz element here as HTML and embed that in your LMS or somewhere on your site, you could do that as well. So I just exported as a HTML. This is what that export looks like. It's completely standalone. So you can use it offline, and it's just that quiz that we just generated via AI that's made available to you here. Again, it tells you, it keeps reference of who's generated it, from where it was generated, and so on. So that's all available to you. You'll also notice that we have a few other things before I get into the H5P button here. We have a subject that was chosen. This subject was chosen by AI. The subject taxonomy is fixed on the site, so we have a list of subjects, and then we ask AI to pick the most relevant one. Again, it saves a couple of clicks for the educator. The title is also AI generated, and also the keywords are AI generated. So in this case, it's generating 5 to 10 keywords based on the content. And there's lots of other ways, other things we might want to generate. So even license or attribution or something like that. But yeah, that's currently how that's set up. But let's talk about the transformation. So we have data that we can then render in various ways, but we can also export the data in various ways. But we might also want to transform the data into sort of more final versions of itself. And so one of those more final versions is something like H5P. So if we click on this button, it will take the data and create H5P resource from it. It will maintain reference from who's built it, where it came from, and so on, like what is generated via AI prompt by this person at this location. and yeah, it maintains all of the the feedback and the correct answers and the structure and so on as well. And obviously we will also bring in the education level, the keywords, the subject, and so on. What this means is that not only do we have a repository that has the prompts, but also that are remixable and exportable and so on. But we also have the resource, the sort of more final end result resources that we could then remix and reuse and embed and use as data in our next prompt, for example. And so yeah, if we were to graph that, this is kind of what it looks like. We have the prompt from the user inputs a prompt, or perhaps that includes existing content as well. The AI service generates the data. The user might reprompt that a few times to get the best generated data that they want. Into the repository, we get the prompt, the generated data, and the various tools to export the data as resources. And then at the other end, we could reuse the prompt. Obviously, we could reuse the data. We can transform the data in various ways. We can embed the resource, and we can take any of the resources and then bring them back into the user prompt as well. So allowing us to create kind of build upon the AI generated data that's been kind of remixed and refined and then repurposed as well. So that's kind of what we have in the mix. That's the quiz generator. You'll notice that we have a few other tools in the works. Obviously, you'll still be able to build H5P manually if you like. And yeah, we have a few other tools that we're thinking of. The general idea is that you can convert data from one format or modality to another format or modality, PowerPoints to quizzes to PowerPoints, etc., and so on. And why you might do that is, it's infinite repurposability for each content. You might do that for accessibility. There's a lot of discussion about H5P's accessibility. Well, how about using the HTML export as a kind of workaround, converting H5P into some other format that is more accessible. And so those are the sort of things that we're thinking about as we sort of try to build the tools that are going to go into Spark. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, I'll leave my email in the video description. Thanks very much.